Okay, so let's just dive right in. We're going to talk about a subject that can feel both completely obvious and at the same time kind of offensive to even bring up. It's a topic that, high-minded people have been a little perturbed by since basically the time of Plato. The actual importance of good sex in a relationship.
We've all heard this, right? This is the conventional, the wise view of love. It says that the real connection happens up here on an intellectual level. And our physical urges, well, those are just something to be managed, not prioritized. It sounds really noble and very, very smart.
But what if that whole view is just wrong? What if, in the clearest possible terms, prioritizing the intellectual over the physical is a fundamental misunderstanding of who we are as people?
So yeah, let's really explore this clash, this fight between our high-minded ideals of love and, well, the fundamental biological realities of being human. This really gets to the heart of it. On one side, you've got the why view we're all taught to focus on, but on the other, you have the, let's face it, banal reality we so often try to ignore. And the argument here is that we are never more obtuse than when we refuse to give these so-called low priorities their proper due.
So why isn't this physical side just some minor detail? Let's take a look at why it's actually so crucial for a happy relationship.
And this, right here, illustrates the real reason for physical intimacy. It's not about performance, not at all. It's about feeling close and feeling accepted. It's a way to reconnect with our own bodies, to feel genuinely welcomed by our partner, and honestly, to just ease the crazy tensions that come from living inside our own complex heads. It's a profound kind of communication. And yet, because we're so fixated on those intelligent priorities, we end up with this whole checklist of questions that, well, they might not be as important as we think they are.
You know how it goes. You meet someone new, and the internal checklist starts running. Okay, first up, literary tastes. Are they, well-read enough for us? Next, cultural compatibility. Do they have the right taste in music? And maybe the big one, will our friends approve of them? And then, of course, the practical stuff. Lifestyle habits, their financial situation, and the list just goes on, creating this almost impossible mountain of criteria. And in the middle of all that intellectual noise, the one really fundamental question just gets lost. Or at least it gets shoved way down to the bottom of the list. But what if it should be right there at the top? Okay, but let's be super clear. What are we actually talking about when we say good sex? Because it's definitely not just one thing. So here's the crucial point. When we ask this question, we are not talking about some kind of athletic skill or technique. We are talking about a measure of deep, fundamental alignment between two people. It's really about a specific kind of psychological and emotional compatibility. This gets to the heart of it. This alignment is when the same weird, specific things excite you both. It's when your unique psychologies, even your compatible wounds, create a real erotic current. It's when you both, for whatever strange reason, want that thing with the stripy socks, or you both get a thrill from those secret glances across a restaurant. It's either there or it isn't. But how do you even know what this deep alignment feels like if you've never experienced it? The idea here is that you kind of need a benchmark. To really understand the difference between what's ecstatic, what's just passable, and what's forgettable, you need to have experienced something truly superlative, at least once.
So what happens when we ignore all this? What's the real cost of sidelining this fundamental part of a relationship in favor of, canoeing or appreciating modern art together?
Now, this is a really challenging idea. When a relationship fails, we tend to search for reasons in that whys column. We had misaligned values or we wanted different things in life. But what if the real explanation is so much more direct?
And this is the tragedy that can unfold. It starts with this feeling of shame about our own unique desires. So neither person feels like they can actually own up to what truly turns them on. Then they try to paper over this fundamental gap by just being nice to each other, thinking that kindness can somehow substitute for compatibility. And in the end, a huge part of their lives can be wasted, all because they couldn't confront this one thing.
This brings us to a really powerful redefinition of intelligence. Maybe true wisdom isn't about suppressing our so-called baser urges. Maybe, just maybe, it's about having the courage to acknowledge their power and to give them the serious consideration they absolutely deserve.
So, we'll end with this question for you to think about. In the pursuit of a wise and proper life, what fundamental, messy, human truths might you have been taught to ignore?